everyone, welcome back to another awesome project in React Native. So in this project, we'll be building a full stack chat-based application in React Native using the Zego Cloud UI Kits. So if you find this interesting, please hit the like button and do subscribe for more such content. So we'll be making use of React Native and MongoDB and TypeScript for coding. And for designing, we're going to use Nativewind. Okay. So let's get started. So let's initially check out the demo part of the video. So here towards my right, we have two tabs. That's the home tab as well as the profile tab. So profile tab is going to contain some basic details that is related to the user. That is the user info. That is the person who's logged in. And we have a logout button as well. Whereas in the home screen, as you can see, we're able to see all of the other people in the application that are enrolled and we can chat with them. So this chat system is very easy and simple to implement with the help of Zego Cloud UI Kits. So you can just try to include and initialize that UI kit that is for the chat based implementation, and you should be able to chat with the other person in a really easy way. Okay, let's check that out. So once I press on, let's say the first chat, it should take you to a new chat room. So this is obviously going to be handled by Zego Cloud itself on the backend part. So let's press on the first one. And boom, just like that, a chat screen is created for us and you should be able to chat with this specific person. So whatever you send is going to be sent over there. So currently this is going to be in testing mode. So I'll be explaining this in detail while we build this up, and even the other person also can receive the messages in real time if at all they are in the chat. Let's say I'm going to enter one more message and then send. Okay, just like that, all of the messages are going to be sent. Okay. Similarly, the same thing is going to happen for the next chat over here as well. Okay, so we have all the chats that are being sent and even the details is going to be shown, that is when exactly it was sent, right? So we'll be implementing the simple kind of chat based application, and I'll be helping you out to understand how exactly to integrate the Zego Cloud UI kit and implement the chat in a really simple way. So that's it about this project. So you can try to log out, and then we have two more screens for logging out as well. Okay, that is basically a sign up screen as well as a login screen. All right, so we'll be implementing this much in this project. So if you find this video interesting, please hit the like button and do subscribe for more such content. So let's get started the project right away. So now the first step is to create a fresh new React Native project. So let's go do that. So currently I've just opened up my VS Code and I'm going to go into my build folder where all of my projects are going to be present. And here I'm going to execute the command, that is npx add React Native community CLI. In it, the project name, in my case, I'm going to say chat Zego app. I'm going to use a specific version that's going to be 0.80. Let's press on enter over here. So this should install and create the project dependencies for us. As you can see, it says welcome to React Native 0.8, and it's currently installing the dependencies required for the project. So let's give it about 2 minutes and then let's wait for the project to initialize. And once that initializes, we're going to go into the project structure and then look into the file tree, that is whatever files the React Native has given us. So there you go, it's asking, do you want to install Cocoa Pods now? So by default the option will be set to no. So I'm just going to press on enter over here, and boom, just like that, our project is ready. So it says initializing Git repository, and these are some of the run instructions for Android, and these are some of the run instructions for iOS. So for Android, we just need to go into the project directory and then run this command, that is npx React Native run Android. Whereas for iOS, you need to go into first of all, we need to go into the iOS folder and then we need to install the Cocoa Pods. We need to do bundle install and then bundle exec pod install, and then we need to run this specific command. So in my case, I'm using iOS. I'm going to follow the second step, and for Android user, you can directly try to run the application by this specific command. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to say file, open the folder, that is this specific project, build folder, the first one. Okay. So this is the file tree that React Native gives us once when you initialize a fresh new React Native project. Okay. So yeah, first of all, let's follow those steps. I'm going to say terminal and then new terminal. Here, go into the iOS folder first of all, and I'm going to say bundle install, enter. So there you go, it's installing all of the dependencies, which is good. So yeah, this part is done. So next is going to be bundle exec pod install. And yeah, let's press on enter again. Yeah, so this should take about 2 minutes to complete. So let's wait for the command to complete. And as you can see, it's currently installing all of the required dependencies. So yep, this step is complete. So now let's try to do a pod install over here, and then we can try to run this specific project. So let's write that correctly, pod install. Okay, so this is also done. So make sure you go into a new terminal. You're in the correct project directory, and here I'm just going to say yarn iOS and enter. So there you go, it opens up the launch package command prompt, and it should find the Xcode workspace, and it also found the booted device iPhone 16 Pro. So now it is currently building the project onto this device. Okay, so this should take about, let's say, 2 minutes or 5 minutes depending upon your network, and once it builds up, you should be seeing whatever is there within your return block in the app.tsx. So it should basically show this specific design. So let's wait for the app to load and then build onto the simulator. So there you go. So the app is being loaded onto the simulator. So as I said, whatever is there within your return block, that content is going to be shown over here. Okay, that's it for now. So now for coding out, we're going to use TypeScript for coding, and for designing, we're going to use Nativewind. So now the first step is to initialize and install Nativewind into the system. Let's go back to Chrome over here. I'm going to search for Nativewind. So make sure you go into nativewind.dev and let's press on get started. So let's go to framework class because this is a React Native framework. I'm going to install using yarn. Copy that command, come back to your terminal over here, and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so while that's installing, so let's move on to the next step. We need to set up the Tailwind CSS. So create a tailwind.config.js and then add all of the content over there. So I'm going to say onto the root level tailwind.config.js. okay, here let's go and then paste it over here. Save this file. So now the next step is to create a CSS file and then add all of the tailwind directives. So copy down this and create a global.css file, again onto your root level, and paste it over here. Save. Okay, this step is done. Next, let's try to add the Babel preset. So yeah, copy down that, and this needs to be done within your babel.config.js. So come back over here and add it just like this as the last parameter. So once that's done, the next step is to modify your method.config.js. So copy this down again, and I think already the file is present, that is method.config.js, that is this one. So here I'm going to get the changes for modification. Okay, so make sure you add in this code, and yeah, I think it's still installing. Yeah, I think it's done now. So yeah, save the file. This step is complete. Let's move on to the next one. So yeah, next one is pretty simple. You just need to import your global.css file and then you need to run the application and try to test it out. So come back over here. So before we do that, we need to install one more package, that is React Native Worklets. So here I'm going to say yarn add React Native Worklets. Let's press on enter. Okay, so yeah, this step is complete. Let's do a pod install. So all of the dependencies get installed. So I'm going to say pod install over here, enter. There you go, all of these dependencies are installing, and this step is done. Okay, so let's try to clear off the terminal and then reload from the starting point. And before that, let's come back to app.tsx and then let's try to import the global.css. So all the styles is going to get applied. Okay, save. I'm just going to say again yarn iOS, enter. So let's wait for that app to load, and now once the app loads, we need to be able to create the styles using Nativewind. Let's test that out as well. So here for testing, I'm just going to make use of the safe area view instead of the normal view. Import that from your safe area context. Let's save the file, and yeah, let's wait for the app to load. So the app is finally loaded. Let's try to give this a try. So let's say below this, I'm going to have a text field. Okay, here I'm just going to say hey, and then let's provide the class name for this. I'm going to say text red of 400, save, and boom, just like that, you're able to see that text being shown and it is in red color. So by this we can confirm that we have implemented the Nativewind into the system. This part is complete. Let's try to move on to the next step. We need some vector icons, so let's install all of the packages that we're gonna use. So I'm gonna get the details for that. So I'm going to paste it over here. You can try to take a look at it. So it's going to be yarn add React Native vector icons / different icon families like and design and typo, evil icons, and all of these. Let's press on enter. Okay, so after this installs, we also need to install the common package for the vector icons. So here I'm going to say yarn add React Native vector icons / common. Let's install this as well. Once this is done, let's do a pod install. The next step is to include all of the icons within your iOS folder, that is within the info.p list. Okay, this step is complete, and over here I'm going to say iOS, go into your chat Zego app, info.p list, and below the false tag, let's go ahead and then paste it over here, and let's try to save the file. Okay, so let's do one more pod install, and now we can try to reload the app, and we should be able to use all of the React Native vector icons within our project directory. So this is complete. Let's try to hard reload the app, quit the terminal. Here I'm going to say yarn iOS and enter. Okay, so while this is happening, let's try to create some folders that we're going to use while building up the project. So I'm going to say app.tsx, new folder. I'm going to create the main src folder over here. Within that, a bunch of folders, that is for navigation, components, and I'm going to say for store. Next I'm going to say for utils. Next I'm going to say for screens. Okay, so yeah, this part is done. So now for utils, we're going to create a logger.ts file, or before that, let's try to install the dependencies for your React navigation, because that's the next step. Because as you saw in the demo part of the video, we're going to have two tabs. One is the home tab as well as the profile tab. Head over to Chrome, search for React navigation, the first link, press on read docs, and let's start to install all of the dependencies. So I'm going to use yarn over here, copy that down, and let's add it over here. Once that's done, let's move on to the next step. We need to install the safe area context as well as the React Native screens. Enter. Let's move on to hello React navigation, again with the help of yarn, copy that down, add it. Once that's done, we need access to bottom tabs. So yeah, React navigation, bottom tabs, the first link. Let's again install it using yarn, copy that command, come back over here, and then install this. Enter. Okay, we can do a pod install now itself. It should install all of the dependencies for React navigation. Okay, this is done. So now first of all, for the logger file, we need to write some content that is going to be within the utils folder. So here I'm going to say logger.ts. Okay, so here what we're going to do is I'm going to say const logger is going to be equals to info. Here I'm going to say message. This is going to have your string and data of any. Here I'm going to say console.log. So make use of backticks over here. I'm going to say info $message, and over here let's pass on the data or a empty string over here. Okay, next I'm going to say error. This is going to have your message of type string, data of any. Let's write that properly. Here again, over here I'm going to give a log message, so console.log. Let's say error over here, and I'm going to say $message, comma your data or a empty string. Okay, so that's the code for your logger.ts. So now let's head back to the navigation part. So with the navigation part over here, I'm going to have in one more folder that is for the navigators, and I'm gonna have two more files, your routes.ts as well as your navigation.ts. So within navigation, I'm gonna say navigation.ts as well as one more file, your routes.ts. Okay. So now within your navigation.ts, we're gonna have three implementations. So let's try to write that over here. So first one is gonna be for the navigation ref. So let's say export const navigation ref is gonna be equals to, I'm gonna say your React, import that dot, we have your create ref method. This is gonna have your navigation container ref of your root stack param list. Okay, we need to import the navigation container ref from the React navigation /native. I'm going to say import navigation container ref from @React navigation /native. Okay, just like this, and we need to import the root stack parameters that is from the routes folder. I don't think we've created that. So let's just try to create it for two things. So let's come back to routes over here. I'm going to say export enum your root routes. Okay, I'm going to say your auth stack is going to be equals to auth stack, and your main tabs is going to be equals to your main tabs. And here I'm going to say export type your root stack parameter is going to be equals to two things, that is your root tabs, your root routes dot your auth stack, that's going to be undefined. Next one is going to be your root routes dot your main tabs, that's going to be equals to undefined. Save. Let's try to import this from the routes folder. Okay, this part is done. Now the next step is to log all of the required infos. So for that, we're going to create a function known as parse and log routes. Okay, so I'm going to say export. I'm going to say function parse and log routes. Here I'm going to have in the state, that is going to have your navigation state. Import that, and or it's going to be undefined. Here check the condition stating that if not of state, I'm directly going to say return. And let's try to access two things, that is const routes comma your index from your state. Let's say const current route is going to be equals to your routes of index. Okay, and over here I'm going to say logger.info of your current route. Here we're going to have the name, that is going to be your current route.name, and your params, if any, that is going to be equals to current routes dot your params. Here equals to should come. Yeah, that's it. So this part is done. So final one is going to be for the set is navigation ready, that is a function. Here I'm going to say export function set is navigation ready. Okay, and here I'm going to say your logger.info of navigation is ready. That's it. So now let's try to create the main file, that is a navigation.tsx, where all of the code is going to go into. Within navigators, new file, navigation.tsx, one more file, auth navigator.tsx or auth stack navigator.tsx. Okay, so rnfes for now. Save the file. So within your main navigation.tsx, first of all, let's try to export the routes. Export const root routes. is going to be equals to your main tabs. That is going to be main tabs, just like this. Next is going to be your auth stack. That is going to be for your auth stack. Okay, next is going to be for the main routes. So export const main routes is going to be equals to tabs. That is going to be your tabs. Home, it's going to be home. Profile, it's going to be profile over here. Okay, this part is done. Next I'm going to say type main stack param list is going to be equals to your main routes dot your tabs. Here initially is going to be undefined. Next you're going to have for the chat, here it's going to take in a bunch of things. That is your conversation ID. So conversation ID, that is going to be of type string. Then it's going to be your conversation type of 0. Okay, next is going to be your conversation name. And this is again going to be of type string, as well as your app bar actions. Let's add it over here. You can take a look at it. Okay, once that's done, the next one is going to be for the last one. That's the zim init. This is going to be undefined. Now let's try to create all of the navigators. Here it's going to be const root stack is going to be equals to create native stack navigator. Let's import it onto the top for this. Next, similarly for the main stack, I'm going to say const main stack is going to be equals to create native stack navigator of your main stack param list. Okay, not like this. Next, I'm going to say const tab is going to be equals to create bottom tab navigator. Let's import that as well. We can import it directly from the docs itself. This is the one. Copy that code and we can paste it over here. Yep, that's it. So now let's try to write the code for the tabs, that is the two tabs that are going to come. So here I'm going to say const main tabs is going to be equals to a normal arrow function, and here directly we can try to return the tab dot navigator. Within that we're going to have two screens. So I'm going to say tab dot screens, sorry, tab dot screen. Okay, here I'm going to have name, that is going to be equals to your main routes dot home component. Here I'm going to say, first of all, let's create the screens that are required. Home screen dot tsx rnfes together shortened code snippet. Next, profile screen dot tsx rnfes together shortened code snippet. Next, login screen dot tsx, again rnfes, save. Next is going to be a sign up screen dot tsx, rnfes, save the file. Okay, so this part is done. So next over here, I'm going to say component is going to be equals to home screen, and let's format once. Okay, format is not working for some reason, that's fine. So apart from this, let's try to create it one more time for your next one. That is going to be for the profile. So name is going to be dot profile. Component to render is going to be equals to profile screen. This is the one. Import that onto the top of the page. Okay, save. And now let's try to write down the code for the main navigator, that is by passing some screen options. So initial root name is going to be equals to your main routes dot home, and over here screen options. This in turn is gonna have in the route, and here I'm gonna say header shown is gonna be false because we do not want to show the header part. Next is gonna be your tab bar active tint color, that's gonna be hashtag 7CEAF2. Next is gonna be tab bar inactive tint color, that's gonna be 999. Tab bar style, here I'm gonna have in the height, that is gonna say platform.os is equals to iOS. If that's the case, then it's gonna be 70 else 60. Next is for the padding bottom design, so I'm gonna say padding bottom. I'm gonna say again similar condition, platform.os is equals to iOS. If that's the case, 25 else 8. Padding top is gonna be 6. Border top width is gonna be equals to 0. This part is done. Next is gonna be tab bar label style. Here I'm gonna say font size is gonna be 12. Font weight is gonna be 600. Next is for the icons that are gonna be shown. So let's try to write that down. Tab bar icon focused is gonna take in 3 things. Focused color size is gonna be equals to 24. And here I'm gonna say let icon name, that is gonna be initially home outline. Okay, here check the condition stating that if at all your route.name is equals to main routes.home, then here your icon name is going to be equals to, first of all check if it is focused, that is if at all the screen is focused, then it's going to be home, else it's going to be equals to home outline. Okay, this part is done. Here I'm going to check the condition stating that if at all your route dot name is equals to your main routes dot profile, then over here in this case your icon name is going to be equals to, again check the condition focused, it's going to be person icon, else it's going to be equals to your person outline icon. And let's try to return the icon over here, that is your iron icons. This we need to import it from vector icons. We can import it over here just like this. Okay, save the file. So the main tabs part is done. Next let's move on to the main stack screen. That's going to happen over here. So I'm going to say const your main stack screen is again going to be equals to normal arrow function. Okay, so here for now I'm just going to return the main stack.navigator. This in turn is going to have your main stack.screen. So here we're going to pass in the routes as the main tabs. Okay, so I'm going to say main routes dot your tabs. Component to render for this is going to be equals to your main tabs, that is the one we have just defined above. Okay, that's it, and we're gonna have a second screen, that is for the chat screen, that is a automatic screen that is going to be used with the help of the Zego Cloud UI Kits. We're going to add that once we design the home screen. Okay, this part is done. So now let's move on to the next part, that's going to be for the app navigation. Here I'm going to say const app navigation is going to be equals to a normal arrow function. Here I'm going to say const is authenticated is going to be equals to false for now by default. We're going to return, let's have the navigation container from your React navigation. Next over here let's try to have the root stack dot your screen, or before that let's first of all try to design your auth stack navigator. That's pretty simple. So here I'm going to say your const stack is going to be equals to create native stack navigator, import that correctly, and here we're going to return your stack dot navigator. Within that I'm going to have the stack.screen. So name is going to be equals to your auth routes. Okay, this is not yet added. Let's just try to add that over here within your routes.ts file. Just like this, import auth routes dot, it's going to be login. Component render is going to be equals to login screen. Copy that down one more time. Here I'm going to say sign up. Component render is going to be equals to sign up. Okay, and over here for the navigator I'm going to say initial route name is going to be equals to auth routes dot login, and screen options is going to be equals to header shown is going to be false. Okay, so that's it. We're already exporting this. Let's come back to your navigation.tsx. Okay, my bad. So over here, first of all, the route stack dot navigator should come. So here I'm going to say route stack. Now this one dot navigator. Okay, not like this. So within this, check the condition if is authenticated as true. Then over here we're going to show the route stack dot screen. Name is going to be equals to your routes, your root routes dot your main tabs. Component is going to be equals to your main stack screen. Else if it is not logged in, then show the auth stack, that is your login as well as register screen. So it's going to be equals to root stack dot screen. Name is going to be equals to your root routes dot your auth stack. Component to render is going to be equals to auth stack navigator. That's it. Okay, so let's try to save the file. This part is done and we are trying to export the app navigation. So I'm going to say export default app navigation. That's it for this part. Okay, save the file. Let's try to give this a try. First of all, clear off the application, and we also need to import, we also need to import your app navigation to the main application, that is app.tsx over here. So instead of all of this, I'm just going to say app navigation. Let's try to run the app. I'm going to say yarn iOS. So after all we have done everything correctly, we need to be seeing the login screen because we have set the is authenticated to be as false. And after that we can start designing the two screens, login screen as well as the sign up screen. So let's wait for about 2 minutes for the app to load. And boom, just like that, this part is done. And as you can see, we are able to see the login screen onto the screen. Just one issue, I'm able to see the header. We need to remove that. That's not required for now. We have given header shown as false. Let's come back to navigation.ts or tsx. Yeah, I think for this it's not given. Let me again cross check once. Yeah, for this one it's not given. So here I'm going to say screen options, header shown false, and boom, just like that, this part is done. So now the next step is let's get into the design of the login screen as well as the register screen. As you have seen in the demo part of the video, it's going to be super simple. Let's start designing these two screens, and after that we can head over to the backend part, create a new MongoDB project, and then connect it to the front-end application. So first of all, onto the top, let's initialize some states for the login screen, also the navigation as well. So const navigation is going to be equals to use navigation of any, and over here I'm going to say const email comma set email is going to be equals to use state, that is going to be initial empty string. Next is for the password part. So const password comma set password is going to be equals to use state, again a initial empty string. Now let's get into the return block design. I'm going to make use of a safe area view over here. Okay, and over here, okay, not safe area view, I'm going to make use of the keyboard avoiding view. Okay, so for this, let's provide in the class name flex of 1 bg black. Here I'm going to say behavior, check the condition, that is platform.os. If it's equals to iOS, then I'm going to say padding, else it is going to be undefined. Okay, and within your keyboard avoiding view, I'm going to have in my first view being shown, and within this view you're going to have one more view, which in turn is going to have a text field, which is going to say chat Zego. Save the file. Let's use a safe area view onto the outermost part. Format, class name flex of 1 bg of black. Okay, that's weird. So yeah, let's do one thing. So let's try to add the inline styling. Let's give that a try. Style, let's see if this works out. Again, similar styling, flex of 1 and a background color of black. Okay, not sure why that didn't work out. Okay, so let's continue designing this. So for the text over here, I'm going to say class name text to 4XL, font is going to be extra bold, text is going to be white color. Okay, I think I got to know why it's not working, because I've not made the change within your tailwind.config.js. That's the reason. So I think the previous code only should work. Let's make that change, or let's keep it as is, and then yeah, I'm going to make the change within my tailwind.config.js file. So let's try to update according to our folder paths, that is within the src. Save the file. So as you can see, now it's working properly fine. So yeah, that was a mistake, so just try to correct that, and then let's come back to login screen. Okay, so apart from this, we're gonna say one more text. I'm gonna say fast, simple, and connected. So yeah, text for Excel, and then we're gonna have font of extra bold, text is gonna be white color, class name for this text gray of 400, empty of 2. There you go, that's looking good. So for this view, I'm gonna say class name items of center, MB of 12. For the outermost view, class name flex of 1, px of 6, justify of center. Save the file. So yeah, that's looking fine. So now let's have all of the input fields that are gonna come over here. So view, this in turn is gonna have a text which is gonna say email. Below that, your text input, and this I'm gonna say placeholder, which is gonna say enter your email. Here I'm gonna say placeholder text color, that is gonna be equals to hashtag 6b 7280. Apart from that, I'm going to say class name bg zinc of 900. Okay, text of white, px of 4, py of 4, and download is going to be Excel. Okay, apart from that, value is going to be equals to email. On change text is going to be equals to set email, and I'm going to say auto capitalize is going to be equals to none, and I'm going to say keyboard type is going to be equals to your email address. Save the file. As you can see, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's try to give a tab over here for this. For the view, I'm going to give it a MB of 4. I think I forgot to style this out. So class name, this is going to have a text gray of 400, MB of 2. Save. There you go. That's looking good. Just try to copy paste this one more time for the next input field. Okay, this is going to say password. As you can see, that's looking neat. And yeah, below this for placeholder, we're going to say enter your password, and placeholder text color is going to be the same thing, and we're going to say secure text entry, that's going to be true. Class name, similar value is going to be equals to password instead of email. On change text, I'm going to say set password. Auto capitalize is going to be removed. Keyboard type also is going to be removed. Save. Okay, this part is done. Let's try to have that button for logging in. I'm going to say pressable over here, import that from React Native, having a text which is going to say login. Class name for this, here I'm going to say bg cyan of 400, some internal spacing padding of 4, rounded of Excel, MB of 6. Save. Okay, so for the text here, I'm going to say class name. Here I'm going to say text black. Text of center. Font is going to be bold. And text is going to be base. Save the file. Okay, that's it. This is looking good. We can give some empty as well. Empty of 2. So next is the footer part, that's going to come right below the pressable, having a view for this. Here it's going to have a text which is going to say don't have an account. Let's pass on the design for that. Class name for this, text gray of 400, and below that we're going to have a pressable which in turn is going to have a text which is going to say sign up. Let's pass the class name for this. Okay, here we're going to have again similar styling, text cyan 400, ml of 1, font is going to be semi bold, and for your pressable over here I'm going to say on press, take in a function, and it's going to be equals to navigation dot navigate to your auth routes dot your sign up. For the view, class name, give it a flex of row, justify of center, save. As you can see, that's looking good. Once you press on sign up, automatically come to the sign up screen. So let's get started with the design of the sign up screen. Here again, we are going to have the inputs. So copy all of these down. So copy all of these and paste it over here. Let's try to import use navigation, use state as well. And we also need access to the username over here, one more extra field. So cons username comma set username is going to be equals to use state of a initial empty string. This part is done. Again, let's try to just copy down the design and then make the changes. So copy this entire safe area view and paste it over here. Import the required things, your safe area view, your text input, pressable auth routes. Save. There you go. That's looking good. Yeah, we just need to, indent it properly. Okay, yeah, we can do the indentation later. So yeah, this part is done. So now let's try to make the changes. So yeah, this is going to be as is, and this is going to say create your account. Okay, the first one is going to be for the username. Let me add it over here. Okay, set username. That spelling is wrong, I guess. Save. As you can see, username, and the remaining fields are going to remain as is because we have already copied down that from the previous screen. Email is going to be the same thing, password also the same thing, and for the pressable part over here, it should say sign in. Here already have an account. Sign in, save, and this instead of login, it is going to say create account. Save the file. Okay, so this is done. So we are done with the design of both the screens, that is login as well as register. This part is done. So now the next step is we're going to go to MongoDB and then create a new MongoDB project and set up the backend folder and initialize all of the controllers, your routes, as well as your services for your logging in as well as registering part. So that's going to be the next step. So now let's head over to mongodb.com in Chrome and then let's try to create a new project. I'm going to say sign in. Let's sign in with Google over here. So once you sign in, it would be, navigated to the main page of MongoDB, and there we need to create our new project. So make sure you press on this drop down, scroll down, or press on view all projects. And here let's press on new projects over here. You can create a new project name, chat Zego app, something like this, and then next. As you can see, I myself am the project owner. I'm going to say create project. Right, so now the next step is to create a cluster. So press on the create button and choose the free version over here and then create deployment. Okay, we need to create our database user. So I'm just going to pass on the name and password as is and then create DB user and choose a connection method. I'm going to choose the third option, MongoDB for VS Code over here. Okay, make sure to copy down this URL. That's important. While that's happening, come back over here and let's create a new folder for the backend part. So I'm going to say backend over here. Okay, so first of all, let's go into the backend folder. Let's create a new terminal over here. I'm going to say cd backend npm init to initialize the package JSON file. Description is going to be backend. Apart from that, everything enter, and then it should be created over here. So as you can see, we do have the package.json file. So here we're going to install some dependencies that are required for the backend part, that is for the coding. So I'm going to say yarn add bcrypt.js. We're going to say course.env express JSON web token mongoose nodemon. Okay, let's install all of these and it should be installed within the dependencies object over here. This part is done. Let's try to initialize the start script. It's going to be equals to nodemon index.js. We're going to have src as well, so src index.js. Okay, so within the backend folder, we're going to have your index.js file. Or yeah, let's do it just like this, index.js, and we can have it onto the root level itself. And let's create a new src folder. We're going to have the config. Apart from that, your controllers, middlewares. Apart from that, you're going to have your routes and the models. Okay, that's it. And we can create a .env file onto the root level of the backend folder .env. Okay, so within the config, you're gonna have the first thing that is gonna be your db.js. Here I'm gonna say const mongoose is gonna be equals to your require of mongoose. I'm gonna say const connect db is gonna be equals to async function. Here let's try to have a try catch block. So try catch of error. Here I'm gonna say console.log, or you can say console.error itself. MongoDB connection error with that particular message, error.message. Okay, and I'm gonna say process.exit of 1. Then apart from that, within the try block, I'm gonna say await mongoose.connect method. It's gonna be equals to process.env dot your URL. I'm gonna say dot your mongo underscore URI. Then I'm gonna say console.log MongoDB connected successfully. Okay, that's it. Let's try to export this value. I'm going to say module.exports is going to be equals to connectdb. Save the file. Yeah, so now next onto the env file, I'm just going to add in some values. Let's add it just like this and make the changes. Okay, so make sure to choose your own JWT secret and add in the MongoDB URI that is going to come from your MongoDB over here. Copy that URI and just over here try to add it. Okay, save. This part is done. Save this as well. And now next within your index.js, let's try to import the required things. Const express is going to be equals to require of express. Then const.env is going to be equals to require .env. Const course is going to be equals to require of course. Const connect db, import this function is going to be equals to require, go into the config folder and access the db. Okay, here I'm going to say .env.config so that we can access all of the values within the env file. Connect db and app.use. We're going to say course and app.use express.json. And here I'm going to say app.get, just the forward slash, which in turn is going to take in a request and the result over here. I'm going to say result.send chat Zego API running. Okay, let's try to save the file. And finally the listen method, app.listen of your port. Let's initialize port over here. Const port is going to be equals to 3000 in our case. This in turn is going to take in a function, and over here we're going to say console.log, make use of backticks. I'm going to say server running on port and then $that port. Save the file. Let's try to run the project. Yarn start. Okay, app crashed. App is not defined. Okay, we didn't initialize app equals to express. Const app equals to express. Save. And boom, there you go. It says server running on port 3000. MongoDB connected successfully. This step is done. We have connected our project to the backend part. Next step is let's define the model, that is user.js. So go to the models folder, new file, user.js, and over here I'm going to say const mongoose is going to be equals to require of mongoose. Alright, here I'm going to say const user schema is going to be equals to your new mongoose.schema. This in turn is going to have your username. This is going to have of type string, or this is going to be of type string. Required is going to be true. Okay, apart from that, unique is also going to be true. Next, trim, true. So apart from that, next we're going to have email. Type is going to be of type string. Again, required true, unique true. Trim also is going to be true. Just copy those values and then add it over here. Okay, I'm also going to say lowercase is also true. Apart from that, the password for the user. So I'm going to say password. Type is going to be of string. Required is going to be of true. And finally, your timestamps. I'm just going to say true over here. We can try to export this. I'm going to say module.exports is going to be equals to your mongoose dot model of your user model and your user schema. Save the file. Okay, this step is done. So now the next step is we can start defining all of your controllers as well as the middleware. So the first one is going to be your auth controller.js. So come back to your controllers and then new file auth controller.js. Here, first of all, for sign up, let's try to write down the function. I'm going to say const sign up is going to be equals to a async function. This in turn is going to have your request and the result in the callback. I'm going to say const username, comma your email, comma your password is going to be equals to request.body. Here, if not of username or not of email or not of password, then here I'm going to say return result.status of 400 .json with a message being please provide all the fields. Okay, so next I'm going to check if all the user already exists. I'm going to say const user exists is going to be equals to await. I'm going to say user model. Okay, not like this, we need to use the require method basically. So import all of these three things. Here I'm going to say await user dot, we have the find one method. Use that, we're going to find based on the or operator. So $or with respect to the email. Here I'm going to say username. Okay, here check the condition stating that if at all your user exists, then we cannot create the user. So here I'm going to say return result.status of 400 .json with a message being user already exists. Okay, here let's try to create the salt. I'm going to say const salt is going to be equals to await your bcrypt dot gen salt of the value. I'm going to say 10 over here. I'm going to say const hashed password is going to be equals to await bcrypt dot, we have the hash of the password and the salt. Here I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to await your user dot create. Here we're going to pass in your username, email, password. Okay, here check the condition stating that if at all your user is present, then we're going to send it to the front end part with all of the details. That is just like this. You can take a look at it. So here password is going to be equals to hashed password. Save. I think I forgot to write for the generate token as well, so that also needs to be written. So const generate token is going to be equals to taking that ID from the parameter, because over here we are going to pass the token over here. That is going to be your user ID. That's going to be the ID that is going to be passed as a parameter over here. Here I'm going to say return your JWT dot, we have your sign method, taking the ID, and here it's going to be equals to your process dot env dot your secret, JWT underscore secret, and I'm going to say expires in 30 days for now. Okay, just like this. Let's try to save the file. This is done. Now let's write for the final part, that is going to be your login functionality. So I'm going to say const login is going to be equals to async function of your request as well as the result. Here I'm going to say const email comma your password is going to be equals to request.body. Okay, let's try to access the user. I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to await. I'm going to say user dot, we have the find one method based on your email. Here check the condition stating that if user and compare that password, I'm going to say await bcrypt dot compare based on the password comma your user dot password. If that's the case, I'm going to say result dot json. Here having your underscore id, that is going to be user dot underscore id. Next I'm going to say username, this is going to be equals to user dot username. Email is going to be equals to user dot email. Token is going to be equals to generate token of user dot underscore id. That's it. Okay, else over here I'm just going to pass on this statement itself over here. So I'm going to say result of status of 400.json with a message saying invalid credentials. Okay, so we are done with this. Let's try to export all of the required details over here. So export, not like this, module dot exports is going to be equals to sign up comma your login. Let's try to write down all of the routes now. I'm going to say routes, new file, auth.js. Here I'm going to say const express is going to be equals to require of express. Then const router is going to be equals to express.router. Here let's try to say directly router dot, we have the post, it's going to be / sign up. Here it's going to be equals to sign up. Import that from the auth controller file. Next I'm going to say router.post, it's going to be / login. Here I'm going to say login. And finally let's try to export it over here. I'm going to say module dot export is going to be equals to your router. Okay, let's try to save the file. This is done. So now let's also write the method for getting all of the users, because as you saw in the demo part of the video, once the user logs in or signs up, they would be navigated to the home screen where all of the other users in the application are going to be shown with whom they can start chatting. Okay, so for that we need one more controller. I'm going to say user controller.js. So user controller.js, here I'm going to say const get users is going to be equals to async method with the request and the response over here. Let's try to have the try catch block, catch of error. Here I'm going to say result dot status of 500 dot json with a message being server error. Alright, within the try block, let's try to access all of the users other than the currently logged in user. So I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to await your user dot, we have the find method. I'm going to find based on your underscore ID. So this should not be equals to, so I'm going to say dollar not equals to your request dot user dot underscore ID. And here I'm going to say dot select with respect to the password. And we're going to sort based on the username. That's it. Here I'm just directly going to say result.json of your users. And also try to export it just like this and import the user from the models folder. Save the file. Let's also write the routes for the user.js. New file user.js. Onto the top, const express is going to be equals to require of express. Const router is going to be equals to express.router. Then router.get, it's going to be / and your get users from that particular file. Here I'm going to say module.exports is going to be equals to router. Let's try to save the file. Okay, so this part is done. So now we can try to implement this into the front end part, that is once when the user presses on create account or login as well. So before that, for the state management part onto the front end, we're going to use Zustend. So let's try to install that, and we are going to create the 3 stores: use auth store, use user store, as well as the use Zego store. So these 3 things are going to be done. First of all, let's install Zustend. Yarn and Zustend, enter. Let's also install the async storage package, yarn add package, this one. Make sure to copy this down, enter. Pod install and then reload the application. Quit. Here I'm going to say yarn iOS again, enter. Okay, so while that's happening, let's try to create our store folder within src. I think it's already there. So here I'm going to say use auth store .ts. Okay, here let's try to define the interface user. This is going to have underscore ID of string, your username of string as well, email of string as well. Next, let's try to add in the interface for the auth state. You can take a look at it. It's going to contain the user token, is loading state, error state, and then login, sign up, log out, and then the clear error functionality. Here let's try to export the store. I'm going to say export const use auth store is going to be equals to your create method from Zustend. You have to import that onto the top. Import create from Zustend. Import your persist, comma, your create JSON storage, from your Zustend / middleware. That's it. So here use the create. It's going to take in the type that's going to be of auth state. Here I'm going to say persist set initially user is going to be null, your token is also going to be null, is loading is going to be false, error is going to be null as well. So below that, the first one is going to be for the login. This in turn is going to be your async method. It's going to take in two things for logging in, email and password. Pass on that. So here I'm going to say set your is loading to be of true, error is going to be null. Let's try to say try catch block. Okay, you can take note of the catch block over here. So within your try block, let's try to access the response. I'm going to say const response is going to be equals to await fetch, or you can use Axios as well. I'm going to say dollar your API base /auth/ your login, and this is going to be your API base. You can define it just like this. Okay, so once you have that, for this we need to pass in the method as well. It's going to be a post method, headers, I'm going to say content type, it's going to be application /JSON. Okay, and body is going to be equals to your JSON.stringify, email, that's going to be email.trim, and then the password. Okay, so once that's done, let's try to access the data. So const data is going to be equals to await response.json. Here check the condition stating that if not of response.ok, then we're going to say throw new error of the data.message. Once that's done, I'm going to say set your user with your underscore ID. That's going to be coming from the data. So it's going to be data._ID. Username, data dot your username. And finally, for the remaining ones, I'm just going to add it over here, just like this. So yeah, after login, we're going to have the next one that is going to be for sign up, logout, as well as the clear error. So yeah, below login, this is the one. I'm going to say sign up. This in turn is going to take in now three things: username, comma your email, comma your password. Here I'm going to say set is loading to be of true, error is going to be null. Here let's try to have the try catch block. So try and then catch of error, copy that line, and over here within the try block, const response is going to be equals to await fetch, make use of backticks, $API base /auth/ your sign up. Here pass in the method that is going to be post headers, content type, it's going to be equals to application /JSON. Let's pass on the body to be passed over here. Here I'm going to say JSON dot your stringify, username, I'm going to say username dot trim. Next I'm going to say email, email dot trim. Finally we're going to have your password over here. Okay, that's it. So next again we're going to first of all check the data, convert it into JSON, and we're going to check if not of response.ok, then throw that error, and we're going to set the data over here. So let's just try to add that over here, just like this. Okay, Let's try to save the file. So this is for your sign up. This part is done. So the next one is going to be for your logout as well as clear error. So I'm going to say logout over here. So here I'm going to say set user is going to be equals to null. Token is going to be equals to null. Error is also going to be equals to null. This part is done. Finally, your clear error. Taking a function. Here I'm going to say set your error to be of null. That's it. And finally, after this, we're going to pass on the storage details. There is auth storage, and the storage is going to be equals to the create JSON storage, and we're going to make use of the async storage over here. So as you can take a look at it, so I've just added the name that is going to be auth storage, and storage is going to be of the type create JSON storage that's already imported from your Sujan middleware, and also make sure to import async storage from this specific package, and it's going to be stored over there. Okay, so that's it. So this part is done. So we can get started with the implementation of your login screen as well as the sign up screen. So first of all, let's come back to the login screen over here. And here I'm going to say const login, comma is loading, comma error is going to be equals to use auth store. Let's try to define the function. Const handle login is going to be equals to a normal arrow function. Here I'm going to check if not of email or not of password. Then over here I'm going to say use auth store dot your set state of your error is going to be equals to please fill in all fields, then return from the function. Else we're going to call the login of these two methods or these two values, email comma password. Save the file. So for the login button, let's try to add the design, that is if at all it is loading or not. So you can take a look at it. If it is loading, then it is going to show in this specific color code, that is with a different opacity, and over here it's going to say logging in, else it's going to say login. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So let's similarly do that for your other part as well, and I've also given on press, that is handle login, that is the function we have just defined. So next part is going to be for sign up. Let's do that over here. So for sign up, again we're going to have in the functions, that is const sign up, comma is loading, comma error is going to be equals to use auth store. Here I'm going to say const handle sign up is going to be equals to a normal arrow function. Here if not of username or not of email or not of password, then over here I'm going to say use auth store dot, we do have the set state, use that. Here I'm going to say error is going to be equals to please fill in all the fields, and here I'm just going to say return. Okay, here I'm going to say sign up of your username, comma your email, comma your password. Okay, that's it. So again, similarly, I'm going to add the condition for your sign up button. It should say if it is loading, it should be signing up or something like loading. So let's format once. The design is going to come over here for the create account functionality. Let's try to add it over here. Handle sign up. Okay, let's try that according to that spelling. Okay, that's it. Let's try to save the file. So now one final change within navigation or TSX, we need to make it look dynamic, because previously the value is hard coded, as you can see. So let's try to get the user. I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to use auth store, And here I'm going to say const is authenticated is going to be equals to the not of user. Save. Now reload again, your login screen should be shown because the user is not yet created or logged in. So let's try to give this a try. I'm going to say sign up, make sure your backend is running. Let's create your username, Sujan, email at gmail.com, password, create account. Okay, that's weird. Nothing seems to happen. Let's look into the sign up screen. Let's first of all check if at all, the button is being pressed. Let's open the DevTools once. Yep, it is being pressed, but for some reason nothing seems to happen. That's weird. Let's look into this. Okay, I think I know why the issue is happening, because within your index.js we haven't even used the routes. Okay, that is missing. So let's try to access these two routes. Save the file. Yeah, so we do have an issue. Okay, go into the src, then your routes, then auth, same thing over here as well. src and then routes, user, save. Hopefully that should be the issue. Yeah, now let's try to give this a try. Create account, and boom, just like that you were able to see creating account, the loading state, and we are logged into the home screen. Okay, this part is done. You can also try to look into the login part as well. Even that is gonna work properly fine. Okay, now let's implement the profile screen quickly. That's going to be a simple design. So let's come back to your profile screen.tsx, and then let's also try to log out as well. And after that, we're going to look into the home screen design and show all of the other users within the application. So here I'm going to make use of my safe area view. Okay, so here I'm going to say class name. So it's going to have a flex of 1 and then a BG of black. Okay, let's first of all remove that header part. It's not required. Okay, that's looking good now. So come back to profile again. Here we're gonna have a scroll view. Import that from React Native. We're gonna have a view which is gonna have a text which is gonna say profile. Here for this I'm gonna say class name, px of 6, pt of 8, pb of 6. For this I'm gonna say class name, text of 3xl, font is gonna be extra bold, text is gonna be white. There you go, that's looking neat. And we're gonna have the user card details. Okay, so we can try to have the user details over here from the store. Const user comma logout is going to be equals to use auth store. So for the user card, having a view, within that we're going to have another view. Here let's try to have in a text. Here I'm going to say user dot your username of 0 dot to uppercase. And for the outermost view, I'm going to say class name, give it a flex of 1. Okay, not this one. I'm going to say mx of 6. Rounded is going to be 3xl. BG zinc of let's say 900. px of 5. py of 6. flex of row. Items of center. As you can see, that's looking good. So for this, I'm going to say class name, width of 20, height of 20 as well. Rounded is going to be full. BG sign of 500. Item center, justify center, MR of 5. There you go. That's looking neat. Now towards the right hand side, we're going to show the next part. That is going to be the user details. That is just like this. Okay, make the change accordingly so it looks like this. Format and then save. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We can try to add the logout button. That's going to come right below the view. Here I'm going to say view. This in turn is going to have a pressable import add from React Native. Here having a text. This is going to say logout. Alright, and for your pressable, I'm going to say class name, width of full, py of 4, rounded to XL, bg red of 600 by 20, item center. We're going to have a border, and we're going to have border red of 600 by 30. And for this specific text, class name, text of LG, font of semi bold, text red of 500. So for the outermost one, I'm going to say class name over here, empty is going to be 12, mx is going to be 6. Save the file. There you go. That's looking good. So let's try to define that function, that is handle logout. Here I'm going to say const handle logout is going to be equals to normal arrow function. Here I'm going to use the alert box, and then I'm going to give two messages saying that logout and are you sure you want to log out. And once they press on press, we're going to initialize the logout functionality that is going to come from your use auth store. So you can take a look at it, import alert from React Native, save the file. So for the on press of the pressable, I'm going to say handle logout, save. So logout, are you sure you want to log out? Log out. And there you go. Just like that, we are coming back to the login screen. You can try to log in as well. It's going to work properly fine. So this step is complete. We're almost done with the login and sign up part. So the user is able to log in as well as sign up as well. So now the next and the final step is to show all of the other users in the application onto the main screen. So once that happens, if at all they press on any chat, we should be able to implement the Zego Cloud UI chat kit, and then they should be able to directly chat with the other user. So that's going to be the next step. So let's get started with the implementation of the home screen. So now I'm just going to create a bunch of users and then come back. So now let's start designing the home screen. So before that, let's write the implementation for the use user store and then define the function that is fetch users that we're going to use within your home screen.tsx file. Okay, so I'm going to say store new file. This is going to be use user store.ts. Okay, so here onto the top, let's first of all define the interface user. So it's going to be the same thing. Okay, next your interface user state. So this is gonna be of type user. Next your loading state, that is gonna be boolean. Error is gonna be a string or null. Next is gonna be fetch users, and over here it's gonna have a promise and it's gonna return a void. Okay, here again let's try to access the API base, copy that down and add it over here. Now let's try to export const use user store is going to be equals to create method. This in turn is going to have in your user state. That is, this is the one. I think first of all we need to import create method as well as the other methods as well, that is persist as well as your async storage. Import that and add it over here. Okay, yeah, so this in turn is going to have in your set method. So here I'm going to say users, that is going to be equals to an empty array. Loading is going to be equals to false. Error is going to be null initially. Here next I'm going to say fetch users. This is going to be an async function without any parameters. I'm going to say initially set loading to be of true, and your error is going to be null. So apart from that, let's try to have your try catch block. So catch of error and then any. Just let's try to set that error, copy it down from the previous one. And over here within the try block, let's try to access the response. I'm going to say const response is going to be equals to await. It's going to be a fetch method. So await fetch, and it's going to be dollar your API base / users. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to say const data is going to be equals to await your response.json. Here I'm going to check if not of response.ok. Then over here I'm going to say throw new error of the data.message. That's it. And we're going to set the users. I'm going to say set users to be of that specific data, and we're going to say loading is going to be equals to false. Okay, so that's it. You can take a look at it. Let's try to save the file. So yeah, this part is done. Now let's come back to your home screen or TSX, and then let's get all of the details and show all of the other users that are enrolled within the application. So here initially I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to your use auth store, and here I'm going to say const users comma loading comma your error comma fetch users is going to be equals to use user store, and I'm going to say use effect, call this on the initial render, that is fetch users. Save the file, hopefully no issues. And now let's come back to the return block and then design this out. So here safe area view, so let's pass on the class name for this. Initially this is gonna have a flex of 1 and then a bg of black. Save. And here for the header part, having a view with a text which is gonna say Zego or chat Zego. Yeah, let's provide the class name for this. So class name text is going to be of 3XL, font of extra bold, and text is going to be white. And for the outermost view, I'm going to say class name px of 6, py of 5, border b, and I'm going to say border zinc of 800, and save. There you go, that's looking neat. And yes, apart from this, I'm going to have one more text. Here I'm going to say welcome back, comma user dot your username. Save. Let's pass on the design for this. Class name text gray of 400, empty of 1. So there you go, it says welcome back Sujan because I've logged in with my own user account. Alright, so next is to show the users list. Okay, so below the view, I'm going to say having the view. This in turn is going to check the loading state, and it's going to check error as well. Error. And furthermore, it's going to check if at all your users.length is going to be equals to 0 question mark. Okay, these are all of the conditions. So if all it's loading, we're going to show that activity indicator. So just try to add that down over here and import your activity indicator from React Native. Just like this. And after all, we do have any issues, that is for the error part. Let's try to add that as well. That is over here within this particular brace. I'm going to say view. So this in turn is going to have in a text and it's going to show that specific error. So I'm going to say error over here. So I'm going to say class name for this. So it's going to be text out of 500. Okay. And I'm going to say text of center. MB of 4. And below that, we're going to have a retry button if at all there is any issue. So pressable. Text. Retry button. So first of all, for the view, I'm going to say class name. Give it a flex of 1. Items of center. Justify of center as well. PX of 8. And for this specific pressable over here, I'm going to say class name. It's going to be BG sign of, let's say, 400. And PX of 6. PY of 3. Rounded is going to be Excel. For this specific class name, for the retry text, I'm going to say text is going to be black. Font is going to be bold. Save the file. Unexpected token. Yeah, I think we need to write the code first, then only it's going to work. Okay. So here, if at all the users.length is equals to 0, then have in a text, we're going to say no other users yet. Okay, so class name for this, it's going to have text gray of 500. For this one, class name, it's going to be flex of 1, item center, justify center as well. For we do have the users, make use of the flat list and then show that content. So I'm going to have in my flat list over here, that is just like this. And you can try to import flat list from React Native. And we need to define this render item. And apart from that, key extractor pass in this. Data is going to be users itself. And show vertical scroll indicator set to be false. And content container style is going to be 20. Okay. So let's go on to the top and then define your render item method, that is over here. So const render item is going to be equals to, this in turn is going to have in the item over here. So for now, it's going to be of type any. You can, pass on all of the type if you want to add. And over here, I'm going to show a pressable. This in turn is going to have a view, which in turn is going to have a text. And this text is going to show your item dot username dot the first value dot to uppercase. Okay. Let's try to add that. And then let's try to save the file. There you go. Just like that, something is being shown onto the screen because we have one other user onto the app. Okay, so yeah, apart from that, apart from the view, we're going to have one more view over here. This is going to show the username basically. So text, and it's going to be your item dot your username. Next is going to be item dot email. Save. Let's style this out. Okay. And towards the right hand side, we're going to have your iron icons as well. Let's write that too. So iron icons, here name is going to be equals to chevron forward, size equals to 20, color equals to 9CA, 3AF. Okay. And over here, class name, give it a flex of 1. And over here, let's pass on the class name over here. I'm going to say text of LG, font of semi bold, text is going to be black. And for this specific one, I'm going to say class name, text is going to be SM, and text gray of 500. Save. Now let's pass on the design the outermost pressable. I'm going to say, flex of row because all of them needs to come into a row fashion. Item center, PX of 6, PY of 4, BG is going to be white, border B, and border gray of 100. Save. Okay, so for some reason the design is not looking as expected. Let's try to pass on this design as well. It's going to have width of 12, height of 12, around it is going to be full. Okay, and BG sign of, let's say, 100. Item center, justify center, and MR of 4. Let's reload the app once. Let's see what exactly is happening. Okay, let's try to log the users if at all we are getting actually the data, or if at all there is any kind of issues. So console.log data as well as users. Let's open up the DevTools once. Okay, so that's the issue because there are no details. Okay, so as you can see, there are no users that are returning. Data is 0. So let's look into that, because let's actually verify once in the backend. So if I come back to my MongoDB and then browse collections, we need to have 2 users because I've created one more user as well. Let's come back to test over here, users collection. There you go, we do have 2 users, and let's exactly see why it's not working. Use auth store, not this one, use user store. It's going to be /users, whereas over here within the routes, yeah, it is going to be /users itself. Okay, I think I know why it's not working, because we have not implemented the middleware part. So let's try to add that. That's the reason, because it's dependent upon your user._id. That's going to be coming from your middleware. So I'm going to say middleware auth.js. I'm just going to add in the code for that. So you can just try to use this code. Okay, and let's try to import the user model correctly. Yeah, models, and it is user. Yeah, it's correctly done. Save. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pass on this protect to that method so that we get that user ID from the request. Okay, so come back to user.js. Here let's add that middleware. I'm going to say protect. Import that. Save the file. So let's also make the change within the store, that is use user store. For the response, we need to get the token basically. Okay, it's already added over here. So just try to get the token from use auth store and then pass it as the authorization bearer token under the headers part. So let's try to save the file. So now hopefully it should work. Let's try to reload the app once. Okay, let's try to log in again. And the password. And boom, just like that, we're able to see other user. So yeah, that was the issue. That is within our auth controller. What we were doing is we are actually trying to get it from the request.user_id, not auth controller, your user controller, as you can see. So it's going to come from your middleware part. Once that is completed itself, it's going to work. Okay, so that's the reason we need to add that middleware, and then we need to verify the token. That is what is being done over here. So now we can head over to Zego Cloud and then implement the UI Kits part. So for that, we need to head over to ZegoCloud.com and then initialize a new project, and it would give you a secret key as well as app ID. With the help of that, we can try to implement the chat based functionality in a very simple manner. That is, once you press on chat you want to chat with, automatically a chat screen should be shown. That is going to be provided by Zego Cloud UI Kits. So let's try to implement that. So come back to Chrome, and I'm going to search for Zego Cloud. Go to the first link and try to log in over here. Okay, it's already logged in. Press on my account. You can directly try to log in with Google as well. Press on my account. So once you sign up, it is going to give about 10,000 free minutes of usage. As you can see over here, free minutes trial, it expires on this date, and it gives you free minutes, that is 10,000 free minutes, and a lot of other features and functionalities as well. And there are a bunch of boilerplate templates you can use. So for this project, we're going to use your in-app chat template, that is to chat with other users within our application. Okay, I've created this project 2 days ago. So to create your project, let's press on create your project button, And here, as you can see, there are a bunch of templates, as I said, that is voice and video call, video conference, live streaming. And then we have your one-on-one tutoring, game streaming, in-app chat. That's the one which you're going to use. So we can build real-time, scalable, secure in-app chats to drive higher engagement. So let's press on this option. Scroll down, just press on next. Project name, you can say chat Zego app. You can give in any project name you want to give, and you can press on the continue button. So this should create your new project for you. As you can see, it says your app is getting created. So let's wait for that to complete. So if it's almost done, so as you can see, it says app project created and start building your app. Press on that. So let's wait for some time. It says it's creating and it's currently disabled. So once that's done, you should be able to see two things. So once you press on the previous project, as you can see, the app sign that is required, as well as your app ID is also required. Yeah, so now let's actually come back to our project that we have created. That is this one. See, now it's enabled. So this is the app ID of my project that's currently created, and the status is in testing mode. Okay, this is the project name, and we have the app sign, and this is the callback secret, and this is the temporary token you can generate. Okay, so the region is set to global, and yeah, these are all of the operation reports you can have a look at. That is in-room online users, your room real-time stream, and user devices, and your playback value as well. Okay, so now make sure you copy down these two things, that is your app sign as well as your app ID, and note it down within your project. So you can cancel this for now. So onto the root level, I'm going to say Zego config.ts. Here I'm actually going to say directly export const Zego underscore app underscore ID is going to be equals to some value. Then export const Zego underscore app underscore your sign is going to be equals to some value. Okay, so for app ID, copy this down and add it over here. Next is for your app sign, just try to copy this down, copied, and then add it over here. We can add it within strings, save. Okay, so yep, that's it. So now the next step is we need to install some dependencies that is required for implementing this chat based functionality. So for that, we're going to install a bunch of dependencies, that is your Zego Cloud Zimkit React Native as well as your Zego Zim React Native. So let's install these two packages. So here I'm going to say yarn add. One is going to be this one. Let's press on enter. The next dependency is going to be yarn add Zego Cloud / Zimkit rn, enter. And once that's installed, we're also going to install this as well. So I'm going to say yarn add React delegate component, and then let's press on enter. Okay, so yeah, this part is done. So let's do a pod install over here, and then let's try to clear off the application. I'm going to say pod install, enter. As you can see, it's installing the Zim package that's required for the implementation, that is of the chat based functionality. So now the next step is to initialize and set up the Zego UI kit so that we can use the chat based functionality within our project. So for that, we're going to use two things, that is your Zego app ID and then the Zego app sign. And then we need to use the UI kit and then connect the user, and we need to pass in two things, that is the user ID as well as the username. And we need to log saying that is the Zego Cloud UI kit is connected, and then we are good to go. That is, we can use that particular UI kit. So you can actually also check out the developer documentation as well. So if I would check out Chrome, you can head over to zegocloud.com/docs/API references. And for each of the template, we have a good documentation that's given. That is for video call, your voice call, live streaming, in-app chat. So this is ours. You can directly press on React Native because we're using React Native. And here you can try to check all of the related functions, that is how exactly it's used and what exactly needs to be done to initialize. Okay, as you can see, there are message functions and there are group functions, also your conversation functions. You can go through this. Once you press on that, it would take you to this screen and it would actually explain what exactly needs to be done. Okay, so you can go to the documentation. So let's get started with initializing the Zego Cloud UI kit, and then let's try to connect the user. Okay, so for that, we're going to come back to the navigation.tsx file. that is going to be over here, and right within your main stack screen we're going to implement this. That is going to be over here. Okay, so first of all I need access to my user. I'm going to say const user is going to be equals to your use auth store, and yeah, we need also one more store, that is for the use Zego store.ts. I'm going to say over here store use Zego store.ts. We can do yarn iOS, and then we can run the project. So here I'm going to say interface Zego state. I'm going to check if at all it's ready. It's going to be a boolean value. Next is going to be set ready. So taking the ready of type boolean, and we're going to return a void basically. And here I'm going to say export const use Zego store is going to be equals to your create method from Justin. This in turn is going to take in your Zego state, pass on the set over here, and here I'm going to say is ready is going to be false, and your set ready, this in turn is going to take in the ready over here, and you're going to set that state. So set is ready to be of ready. Save the file. That's it. Come back over here. Let's try to get in that value. That is going to be set ready. I'm going to say const set ready is going to be equals to use Zego store. Let's try to initialize your use effect. That is going to run on the initial render, and it's going to be dependent upon your user. So here first of all I'm going to check if at all user is present. Then over here I'm going to say console.log initializing Zego for user with that specific user dot underscore id. Next here I'm going to say zimkit, not like this is the one. We can import that onto the top. That is just like this. Okay, so it's going to be zimkit dot, we do have the init method, use that, and this in turn is going to take in two things, your Zego app id as well as the Zego app sign. So once that's done over here, I'm going to say zimkit dot, we do have the connect user method, pass on that, and here we're going to pass in your user id. That is going to be user dot underscore id, then your username, that is going to be user dot username, or your user dot your email. Once that's done, I'm going to say dot then method. We're just going to log the message saying that console.log Zego connected and ready. Here I'm going to say set ready to be of true. If there is any error, catch that error. So I'm going to say dot catch of your error. Here I'm going to say console.log or console.error Zego connect failed with that specific error. Okay, here I'm going to say set ready to be of false. Okay, so that's it, and I've also added the cleanup over here. So we're going to say return console.log disconnecting Zego. We're going to use the disconnect user method, and then we're going to set the ready to be of false. Let's try to save the file. Let's open up the DevTools, and there you go. Okay, Zego connected and ready to use. Okay, that's the latest log. Yeah, and we're also able to see the Zim version as well, and I think that's pretty much it. We can try to implement this. So yeah, we need one more screen, that is for the message screen, that is automatically going to be used by Zego Cloud. So let's create that message list page within your main stack screen itself. So I'm going to say your main stack, screen dot your, okay, this is done. The name is going to be chat. Okay, and over here I'm going to say component to use is going to be equals to your message list page. Let's create that. So here I'm going to say new file, message list page.tsx. This message list page is going to come from ZegoCloud UI Kits. Okay, you can import it just like this. There is import message list from ZegoCloud /zimkit and then React Native. So save the file. Okay, it says a navigator can only contain screen, group, or React.fragment as its direct children. Okay, the dot is missing. That's the reason. Okay, so this part is done. Yeah, I think we are pretty much done. We just need to initialize the on press and it should be working properly fine. So for that, we need to come back to your home screen, to the render item. I'm going to say on press. So here we also need to get that is ready method. So here I'm going to say const is ready is going to be equals to use Zego store. On press, taken a function. Here check the condition stating that if is ready. Then here I'm going to say navigation. I don't think that's initialized. Const navigation is going to be equals to use navigation. Here I'm going to say your navigation dot is going to be navigate to the chat, and over here pass on the conversation ID, your conversation type, app bar actions, and your conversation name. I'm just going to get all of those details and then I'm going to add it over here. Okay, so just like this. So let's try to format once and then let's try to save the file. Okay, I think there is one more change that is to be done in the Zego Cloud part. So come back to Chrome, come back to your project, and make sure you're into the service management. Press on in-app chat and we need to activate it, then only it's going to work. So press on activate button. So you can go through this description and you can press on ready to activate. Okay, it says in-app chat service is being activated, please wait. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I think it should be activated, and you can also activate some other options as well if at all you're interested in. And there you go, just like that, it's activated. And we have all of the other options, that is your push notification details, your callback configurations, and your basic configuration details. You can go through this. Okay, so our in-app chat is activated for this specific project, which is good. So now let's try to give this a try. So once I press on this chat, automatically we should be navigated to the chat screen, and boom, just like that we are navigating. And we do have some error view. Let's look into that, or let's try to enter a chat. Let's see what exactly happens. Okay, so yeah, there is some kind of issue. So let's look into why exactly we're not able to see that. Okay, because after all there is no errors, we should be able to chat with this specific person. And even if the other person is also, in the current chat, it should be real time as well. Let's just, try to hard reload the app and then let's see what exactly is happening. So terminal, quit terminal. Okay, and I'm again going to say yarn iOS. Let's give it a fresh try. Enter. Let's wait for a minute for the app to load, and hopefully it should work this time, because that's the same code I've written in my previous project. Yeah, so let's check this out one more time. So let's try to press on the chat, and boom, just like that, that error was gone. Let's try to chat with this specific person. I'm going to say hey, and there you go. Just like that, we're able to chat with this person. Good morning. Send that, and then how are you? And you can share it as well. Okay, so here if even the other person, that is the opposite person, is online, and if at all the project is set to production mode, obviously the real-time functionality should be working fine. Okay, you can take a look at it. That is, once you check out the Zego Cloud configuration over here, come back to project information. As you can see, it is in testing mode. You can press on online, and you can make it as production mode or online mode, so that the real-time functionality is going to work properly fine. Okay, so that's how this is going to work, and that's how it's very simple to integrate these UI kits within your project that you're going to build. Okay, just in minutes you can create your own chat screen, and then automatically all of the chat functionality is going to be handled by Zego Cloud without any problems that is going to be faced by you. So yes, that's the basic implementation of Zego Cloud UI Kits, that is with respect to the chat based functionality within a project. And you can also try to explore different projects. You can check out the analytics dashboard as well over here. So this gives the information related to your project, that is with respect to each user, that is the room ID. As you can see, it has all of the user ID, stream ID, as well as the country or region, and your user behavior monitoring as well. You can go through this. Okay, and you can create different projects as well with different templates as I've shown earlier, and you're given 10,000 free minutes to test this particular UI kit out. Okay, so yes, that's it about this project. So we basically learned about how to chat with other users, and we created a simple basic kind of application by showing different users in the app, and we are able to chat with them with the help of the Zego Cloud UI Kits. Hope you found this project interesting, and for more info just check out ZegoCloud.com, and you should be able to get all of the information you're looking for, and you can also check out the developer docs as well. So that's it for this video. So let's see you in the next video, and then thank you for watching.